I remember when I was a kid, my mum and sister would always tease me for walking with my head turned down, because I was always staring at the floor. I certainly wasn't a confident boy, and I wonder if that had something to do with it. Mainly, I found it quite interesting to look for bugs and stones and little forgotten things. My mum said she would always have to remove the pebbles from my trouser pockets before she put them in the wash. But the joke's on them, because over the years I'm certain I found more money than the average person has. And you know, there's a lot of cool stuff down there. If you look hard enough, you're always bound to find something useful. I wonder what I've left on the ground over the years. Being from London, it's definitely a different sort of ground here in Japan. For one thing, I haven't seen nearly as much chewing gum coating every single street. And no jammy dodgers either, which, for the uninitiated, are absolutely delectable.
Oh, there it is.
You've seen The Borrowers, right? Or Stuart Little, or Bug's Life, or Flushed Away, or any of those movies where the story takes place in a miniature world of miniature people. And there's always this sense of how regular objects become something remarkable with a change of perspective. What was it William Blake wrote? No, not that stuff about pregnant Waluigi, the other stuff. Ah yes, that was it. To see the world in a grain of sand. The older I get, the harder it is to disagree. It turns out that everything is everywhere, and some would even say all at once. The desert ridge in this crevice, the avant-garde in these roadwork markings, the wabi-sabi in these fading lines of paint, the coastline of this rubber step, which reminds me of the coastline paradox, that thing how the more you zoom in on a coastline to measure it, the more is revealed, and so the longer it gets. The world expands, not contracts, as you look closer. I like this river of moss. I like this cracked riverbank. I like seeing the scale of a landscape reflected in all these things. There's a Japanese art called suiseki, which elevates found stones into decorative pieces, celebrated for their ability to evoke bigger scenes and landscapes in the viewer. But I think this appreciation can apply to everything. It doesn't have to just be a stone. It could even be something man-made. For example, I like these squares of tactile paving that ironically look like a blind person installed them. It's evocative in a different way. And I like when you find the evidence of someone who was there, or something that happened. I never approve of littering, but there's something to be said for this rubber chicken that looks like the washed-up corpse of a mafia victim. I like the sutures on this bin, like the stitches on the torso of a wounded soldier. This kind of unintentional art is everywhere. The cones and umbrellas I've made videos about, they're just a form of accidental sculpture. And you can enjoy them. It's free. You can enjoy these things and have a much better time than people watching a television show that should have ended 5 seasons ago. Perhaps art was the key word after all. I haven't mentioned it on this channel before, but I'm a painter. I'm into the world of fine art, and I go to exhibitions and I walk around staring at stuff looking for inspiration. And it sometimes amazes me how much you can get out of a squashed orange in the street, and how little you can get out of an acclaimed exhibition. Something I love about art is that it doesn't have to be on purpose. You can find an old sign like this on the wall, and it immediately tells a story more honest and true than anything in a million galleries. I think that's what this channel has slowly turned into. Kind of an ongoing conversation with myself on a number of themes, but I think art is somewhere in the middle of it. It was actually my reason to start making these videos. A few years ago I didn't have anywhere to paint, and I felt myself getting fidgety with the urge to create something. So I thought I would try filming and writing something instead. Last year I went to ACK, Art Collaboration Kyoto, which is a major art fair, but it was, to be honest, a very dry affair. It's like the sense of life in the world just dissipates and turns grey as soon as you step inside those curated white boxes. They're like small asylums for the financially deranged. And I say this as someone who is actively participating in this world. There was no heart in it, no sense of vitality, nor any kind of spiritual rejuvenation as I went from box to box looking at all the artworks. There are all these gallery owners and business people sitting around on their computers beside the artworks, waiting for money to change hands. It was art that was utterly declawed. But then I stepped outside, and the first thing I saw was these green men before the misty mountains. And it occurred to me what a losing battle you have to fight as an artist. Because how many artists can make something as interesting as that? That thing you just saw for free without even trying or even looking for it. If you stripped this rusty, graffitied pole and plonked it down in a gallery, people would really admire it. And not just pretend to either. A lot of people think that everyone is pretending to enjoy things in a gallery, just to be pretentious. But I actually don't think that happens as much as they say. I think that when something is in a gallery, it just becomes easy to appreciate. In a way, it becomes safe for you to look at it and think, yes, that's cool. I think it's because people let themselves enjoy strange things inside a gallery, because it's a designated sanctuary for weirdness. But when something is lying out there on the street or scrawled on the wall in a shitty alleyway, it's a different story. It's an unknown quantity, and you risk something by liking it. It's something new that nobody else has signed off on. You are not affirming your own good taste when you like a thing like that. You are staking your own opinion on something new and uncertain. Which takes us back to those miniature worlds in the form of the film Ratatouille. Do you remember what the critic Anton Ego says in that film? There are times when a critic truly risks something, and that is in the discovery and defense of the new. And he's right. And I think it's okay for that discovery and defense to occur solely and privately within your own head and your own thoughts. Because maybe a piece of your true self has to wrestle with preconceived tastes and aesthetics instilled by society. I kind of had this happen in reverse the other day. For reasons that I cannot legally disclose, I got Avril Lavigne's Complicated stuck in my head, and, despite not liking the song, decided to look it up. And when I listened to it, I actually thought it was pretty good. Now, as a kid, I hated that song. I hated the aesthetic of these people because I thought they were trying really hard to be cool. I didn't care for this kind of music, or the way it was pushed on us with a kind of faux anti-establishment flavour, despite being mainstream pop music. And yet I later discovered the value in this piece of popular art that the mainstream had tried to convince me of years before, and I had to confront a fragment of myself from the past in that process. Where did that Fred go? Why doesn't he dislike this thing anymore? Was part of me lost in that process? Or have I gained something? I wonder whether a person who doesn't dislike anything can even exist. Is that even a person? Even Jesus lost his temper, which is something I often recall as justification when I get annoyed over something very trivial, such as somebody eating too loudly at a restaurant. I suppose when you dislike something, you begin to know yourself. I can't stand corn despite really wanting to eat a big buttery corn cob like in the cartoons, and I still don't know what that says about me. Are there any therapists watching who would care to comment? I don't know, maybe I'm a person who reflects too much. I think that's a typical problem for an introverted person. I am obsessed with an internal world. Perhaps that's all the more reason I should go on my little walks and stare at the ground. Or maybe it's the reason I do it in the first place. Still, I like going out to look for things. If you look for something, you will find something. And that second something might be completely different to the first one, but it's nonetheless worthwhile. It's also been said that luck comes down to possessing a certain degree of observation. If you wish to be luckier, you have to look at the world more carefully, and through that you will find things waiting for you. At the end of the day, these videos are mostly a record of those things. Thanks for watching. Your reward is this footage of a dirty magazine I found overlooking a scenic stream. Thank you, good night.